Welcome back, folks. Dow Industrials finished down 831. Nasdaq off 315. S&P's down 107. They're talking about monster numbers, folks, right across all these indices. Let's go over to our man, Mr. Jim Prince, as we do each and every Wednesday at 20 past the hour. Don't forget, folks, you can find Jim every trading day at GBEmembers.com. GreatestBusinessOnEarth.com. Jim Prince, what's going on?
Wow, what action today, huh, Tom?
Oh, baby. There's no doubt. Volatility in spades, huge selling. You get ABC structures down all over the place. They're breaking swing points with volume. Elevator's never big enough to, when people want to get out, Jim.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just looking here at the the NASDAQ futures look to be down almost 5% on the day. Pretty big move for sure.
Intense, man. The NASDAQ always blows my mind. And folks have heard me say this so many times, but, it can crawl up. And, man, when that falls apart, it just tears, folks. When they want out, they want out. So I got some of your charts up. Let's take a look at it. Where would you like to start?
Well, I thought because of all the action, the stock indices, some of the currencies, and the energy is pretty well covered today. Let's take a look at a couple of markets that we normally don't talk about. How about we'll look at the weekly feeder cattle chart to begin with.
Okay, perfect. November feeder cattle, let's see. Oh, I got it. Beautiful. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so the weekly chart, is that the one you have up, Tom?
I do. I believe so.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Yeah, so I've highlighted on that chart that red zone, that resistance zone. It looks like a triple top spread out over the last year or so there, and the market just tapped that, and also the 200 period moving average is right there as well. And coming off of that, and you can see how the market's kind of pulling back into that just above that green zone that I have marked there, and it's done all of that on divergence. So I'm looking for the market to maybe push lower here. If we zoom in or take a look here at the November feeder cattle, I think you can see things a little better.
Okay. There we go. There's the November.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see prices sitting just above the green zone there. And then I put one of my ellipses there, which really runs from the bottom of today's candle down to the support level there, that blue line, as well as the 50-period moving average. So I'm anticipating that with the energy I see in the indicators there, we should see some lower prices here. We may not see it right away, but I think over the course of the next week or so, we're very likely to see some lower prices here. And again, the divergence here on this daily chart stood out pretty well, and price really dropped off of that divergence.
Yeah, what's interesting, too, is that, folks, if you've never traded cattle, cattle's pretty cool. I traded cattle quite a bit. Like the moves are fast, even intraday. It seems like they just sit there, and then whatever way they're going to move, they move. But I like that. It's just so intriguing looking at cattle at the over the dollar mark, because when I was trading that a lot, it would always be basically revolving around a buck. You know what I mean? A buck to a $1.06, which is pretty wild. But
yeah,
pretty cool. What are we going to look at next?
Let's look at wheat. We have the 10-year cash contract.
Okay.
I have the historical data there for that. And one of the things with that is that you can see that blue line. That's the one we kind of focus on here.
Yes.
It tends to bottom in September. So, we're at that time of the year where we should be looking to bottom here, and actually have surpassed it a little bit. And now if we pull up the March wheat contract, you'll see that prices are really actually just consolidating here at the moment. I have outlined the consolidation, more of a triangle pattern.
Yes.
And below that, I have a couple of support zones. So I'm thinking here that based on the seasonal, because we're really not doing anything quite at this point. I mean, the market did actually put in a low there mid-September. That's kind of the low there in the triangle, that if price rolls over here, that we're going to come down and test these different support levels on the chart. That horizontal line will, of course, be the first line in the sand. And below that, we got that whole green zone. That will be obviously counter-seasonal at this point if that happens. So if the support holds, then I'm looking for the market to kind of bottom out and then begin to kind of turn the corner.
Okay. Hey, did you see the? I was hearing yesterday that in China, they have. I think they said that 400 million pigs. They were thinking that they were going to basically I guess they have a regulation that you have to feed them so much protein, and they were thinking that they were going to change that regulation because of the fact that China themselves had put a tariff on our soybeans. So that's going to be intriguing to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, that will indeed. I don't know much about that, unfortunately, but that will be interesting to see how it affects the market for sure.
And you can see when you're looking at beans, folks, the bottom line is that beans have gone from $10.50 a bushel to $8.52, and this still just can't seem to make a low, man. So
yeah.
It's gonna be pretty wild watching that thing shake out. The coffee, right?
Yeah, the last market here today. So we talked about this about a month ago, and price had just made that little doji candle there inside that green zone
Yes.
that I have marked off.
Yeah.
And then you can see it pushed low and kind of formed this asymmetrical head and shoulder bottom pattern, and just took off like a rocket ship here, and now is at the resistance level. So we looked at coffee. We talked about the seasonals before as well. Price does tend to move up here into the cold season, if you will, because more coffee is consumed, I guess. But I'm looking for the market to pull back a little bit and maybe really starts a trend. I think this is more of a spike type move into resistance, and if that holds, market backs off a little bit, then look for more of a seasonal type of rally in this market too.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool because fundamentally that adds up with Brazil and the real too. I mean, what you had, folks, is that election in Brazil, whether you like the person, don't like the person, the bottom line is that you had the real come off the lows, which it had to do because that had been getting so weak. I mean, we were at 4.2 reals to $1 US. Now you're at 3.75, and that's what they need for that commodity market, man. And I mean, we should have got down to Brazil earlier, Jim, and got ourselves a nice coffee ranch, coffee plantation, and some cattle.
For sure. Then we could have said it was real low.
so true. Hey, listen, it's amazing what has happened with these currencies, man. It's made such a difference, folks. I mean, the currency moves, for these commodity countries have been pretty intense, and
Indeed. Yep.
Makes
Indeed.
a difference.
In fact, the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, what a big move in that pair today. Up about 0.75%, but a bigger turnaround, I think, and a big rally. We had the Euro CAD up really big as well. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Big currency moves.
Unreal. Well, listen, folks, every trading day you can get over, check out Jim. It's gbemembers.com. Greatest business on earth. You can listen to him here every Wednesday, folks, at 20 past. So, are you liking the fall?
Oh, I love the fall time. I love baseball. Of course, the Red Sox moved on last night. That's fantastic. You bet.
That was a good game. That was. And, of course, down in Florida, we get lots of Red Sox fans and lots of Yankee fans. So, in the bars, it's always pretty wild, man.
I bet.
Cooking, brother, thanks so much for the help.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a great one, Jim. Stay right there, folks. Come right back.